Imagine a nation that survived invasions from Mongols, Japanese warlords, and mighty empires. A nation that built magnificent kingdoms, created one of the world's most scientific writing systems, and endured one of the bloodiest wars of the modern era. Today, that nation is divided into two countries separated by one of the most heavily guarded borders on Earth. But to understand why Korea is divided, we must travel back more than 2,000 years. Long before skyscrapers filled Seoul and before missiles and politics dominated headlines, the Korean Peninsula was a land of mountains, forests, and small tribal settlements. Ancient farmers cultivated rice along fertile river valleys while fishermen worked the surrounding seas. Over centuries, these scattered communities gradually evolved into powerful kingdoms that would shape Korean identity for generations. The story of Korea is not simply the story of a country. It is the story of survival, a story of resilience against overwhelming odds, and a story whose consequences still shape the modern world. Around the first centuries before and after the birth of Christ, three powerful kingdoms emerged across the Korean peninsula. These were the kingdoms of Goguryeo, Baekje, and Silla. Imagine fortified mountain cities overlooking vast valleys. Warriors clad in armor patrolled wooden walls while merchants carried goods along dusty roads connecting villages and royal courts. The three kingdoms constantly fought one another for territory and influence. Alliances formed and collapsed. Armies marched across mountains and rivers. Yet these kingdoms also developed sophisticated cultures. Buddhism spread throughout the peninsula. Magnificent temples rose from forested hillsides. Art, literature, and architecture flourished. For centuries, the struggle continued. Then one kingdom gained the upper hand. In the 7th century, Silla forged a crucial alliance with Tang China. Together they defeated their rivals and unified much of the Korean peninsula. For the first time, Korea experienced a long period of relative stability. Royal capitals expanded. Elegant palaces appeared beside temples, scholars studied philosophy while traders exchanged goods with neighboring regions. But unity did not last forever. As centuries passed, royal authority weakened. Regional leaders gained power. Once again, the peninsula fractured into competing states. Out of this turmoil emerged a new dynasty. A dynasty whose name would eventually give Korea its modern identity. In 918, the Kingdom of Goryeo was established. The name, Korea, itself originates from Goryeo. The dynasty became known for its cultural achievements and remarkable craftsmanship. Artisans produced exquisite Celadon ceramics admired throughout Asia. Buddhist scholarship flourished, and vast collections of religious texts were preserved. Yet danger loomed beyond the horizon. The Mongol Empire was expanding across Eurasia. Soon, Mongol horsemen swept across Korea. Cities burned. Villages were devastated. Decades of warfare followed before Goryeo finally became a tributary state under Mongol influence. Despite immense hardship, Korean culture survived. And when Mongol power declined, a new era began. In 1392, General Yi Sun-sin established the Joseon dynasty. This dynasty would rule Korea for more than 5 centuries. Joseon transformed Korean society. Confucian ideals became the foundation of government and education. Scholar officials administered the kingdom while grand palaces rose within the capital city of Seoul. One of Korea's greatest achievements occurred during this period. In the 15th century, King Sejong the Great introduced Hangul, the Korean alphabet. Unlike many writing systems reserved for elites, Hangul was designed so ordinary people could learn to read and write more easily. It remains one of the most celebrated achievements in Korean history. But peace would not last. In the late 16th century, armies led by Toyotomi Hideyoshi invaded Korea. War engulfed the peninsula. Entire cities were destroyed. Civilians fled advancing armies. Smoke rose from burning settlements across the countryside. During this crisis, one man became a national hero. Admiral Yi Sun-sin. Commanding a vastly outnumbered navy, he achieved astonishing victories against Japanese fleets. His famous turtle ships became legendary symbols of Korean resistance. Although Korea eventually survived the invasion, the devastation was immense. Even greater challenges awaited in the centuries ahead. By the 19th century, powerful nations were competing for influence across East Asia. The once isolated Joseon kingdom found itself trapped between expanding empires. After defeating China and later Russia, Japan emerged as the dominant regional power. In 1910, Japan formally annexed Korea. For the next 35 years, Korea existed under Japanese colonial rule. Then came World War II, and with it, dramatic change. When Japan surrendered in 1945, Koreans celebrated the end of colonial rule. But freedom arrived with an unexpected complication. The peninsula was divided along the 38th parallel. Soviet forces occupied the north. American forces occupied the south. What was intended as a temporary arrangement quickly hardened into a political divide. Two separate governments emerged. In the north, the communist state led by Kim Il-sung. In the south, the Republic of Korea. On June 25, 1950, North Korean forces crossed the border. The Korean War had begun. Cities were reduced to rubble. Families were separated forever. Millions of soldiers and civilians became casualties in one of the 20th century's deadliest conflicts. International forces joined the war. Massive battles swept back and forth across the peninsula. For 3 brutal years, Korea became one of the world's most dangerous battlegrounds. Then in 1953, fighting largely stopped with an armistice agreement. But no formal peace treaty was signed. The war ended. The division remained. And it remains today. Since the end of the Korean War, the two Koreas have followed dramatically different paths. South Korea transformed itself into a global economic and technological powerhouse. Its music, films, and innovations now influence cultures around the world. North Korea became one of the most isolated nations on Earth. Yet despite the division, both nations share thousands of years of common history. A history of kingdoms and dynasties, of invasions and resilience, of destruction and renewal, and perhaps most importantly, a history of a people who repeatedly endured challenges that might have erased lesser civilizations. The border dividing Korea may be visible from space. But the story that created Korea began more than 2,000 years ago, long before that line ever existed. History never truly disappears. It lives on in every city, every tradition, and every memory passed from one generation to the next. If you enjoyed this journey through the history of Korea, consider subscribing for more cinematic historical documentaries. And let us know in the comments, which civilization, empire, or ancient city should we explore next?